Hi, all. This is Dr. J, streaming live from Long Island, New York, where the weather was crisp, beautiful fall day. It was a little nip in the air, and a little gust in the morning, but throughout the day it got just nicer and nicer. I wouldn't talk about the cold weather necessarily being bad weather. You get used to it, and some beautiful days. Today was an example of such a beautiful day. Hey, Greg, it was a little chilly, I have to admit that, but it was something nice about walking through the park, looking at all the beautiful foliage. It was really, really nice. Long Island this time of year is beautiful, especially in the woodsier parts of Long Island. Really, really nice. Um, did you get to do your walk? You walked and ran for half an hour, and you went out again. That's what I mean. It was just so beautiful. Hey, Rosie's here. There she is. Hey,
Hi.
Rosie. Did you have a great day today?
I did, but it was very cold outside.
Yeah, we were just talking about that. Greg went to the park, Albertson Park. He had
Mhm.
his walk, and then they had another run. And Dr. J went to a park and admired the foliage today. We all seem to have the same idea today. And you stayed in from the cold? You didn't want to budge out?
Yeah, I did. I was working today,
Oh, okay.
but it was still cold. Even inside the building, it was cold.
Really? On the trading floor?
Yeah.
With all the heat being generated from the traders?
This one's a very quiet trading floor.
Quiet trading floor. Okay. Hey, Greg says hi to you, Rosie. You see, you're getting a fan club already.
Hi, how are you?
Greg is a good guy. Greg has been with Dr. J right from the beginning. He's
Nice,
one of the really good guys.
nice.
Yeah, Greg he knows his stuff, especially biotech, right, Greg?
Wow.
Into small cap biotech stocks.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has their specialties.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my specialty is also biotech and lately the pot stocks. You added more ADXS. Good luck. I mean, that's had a run to 38, backed off to about 30 cents. And I don't know where it is now, maybe 31 cents, something like that. Does that about summarize it, Greg? I mean, it's been a pretty volatile for a penny stock. Well, I guess that's typical of penny stocks, volatility. Under 32 cents you added, yeah. Well, I think it's due for another run to 38 cents. Take your 20% profit and run. Yeah, why not? I mean, trading stocks is one thing, and investing in a company is another thing.
Mm-hmm.
When you're a trader, I look at it this way. I don't care what the company does, what the company is. If I like the chart and I think I can make a profit on a swing trade, I'm in. And I may be out 3 days later, so I don't even have time to figure out the fundamentals. I'm not going to start spending hours analyzing the annual reports and the quarterly reports and the earnings releases and any other bottom line, top line, or any other information
Mm-hmm.
when I'm going to be in and out of it in 3 days. Lynn says, "Hi, Greg." They know each other. Lynn, how you doing? Lynn is the cousin of Willie McCovey. Is that right, Lynn? Who's this? Spike? Spike, Rosie and I are waiting for you. You're on the phone live from Long Island, New York. Should I put you on speaker? We're live and we're on, and we're talking to Greg, and we're talking to Lynn, and we're talking to Rosie. I'm adding you to the stream.
That's good.
Yeah, this is funny. I mean, we're talking on the phone to each other. Okay, so it looks like the gang
Nice
is all
to see you,
together,
Rosie.
huh? Dr. J, Rosie,
Nice to meet you.
Spike. And Rosie in the middle, as it should be.
Yeah, there you go. And I'm gonna try to hide
I
my
can't
face.
hear a doggone word you're saying, Spike.
All right. I said I was gonna try to hide my face as much as possible.
Spike,
All right. Yes.
you should have gotten on a plane to Dallas and root in the Knicks tonight.
Against
They're
the
playing
Mavs.
the Mavs.
Eh.
Willie
something
was
about the-
great. Greg says Willie was great, and Greg is correct. Willie was great. Lynn, was it Willie McCovey that made the last start in the Giant Yankee World Series, the great catch by Bobby Richardson? Was that off of Willie's bat? I believe it was. It was bases loaded in the ninth inning, and the Giants had a chance to win it. I don't remember who was pitching for the Yankees, but the Yankees were up a couple of runs, maybe, or one run, and bases loaded, 2 men out. Willie McCovey, I think it was him, at the plate, hits a vicious line drive over the second baseman's head. But no, it wasn't over his head, as Bobby Richardson jumped 1,000 feet into the air to snag it. Lynn is not sure. Dr. J is not sure, but my powers of recollection say it was him.
Yeah, I would not try to challenge Dr. J in the game of memory.
All right, so we were talking about the weather, and Greg said it was pretty nice for going to the park. Dr. J went to the park, looked at the foliage today. I froze a little bit, but
it was chilly. Over on Long Island, it was very chilly.
But the foliage is great. I mean, who needs to go to Vermont? Where's Cabinet Guy? Cabinet Guy, where are you?
It's probably very cold in Vermont if it was so cold here.
Yeah, but you know,
I hope you put the
foliage,
tarps
you
over
think
all
of, what do you think of when you think of foliage? I think of Vermont, personally.
These days, you've been making me think of all these green stocks whenever we talk about foliage.
Yeah. Well, you're into green stocks.
Well, you know, it depends on your definition of green.
Yeah, well, white, green, clear stocks, clear water.
Oh, clear water, that's right. Are you going to look at them today?
So I described in my remarks, the description of the show, that Dr. J remains very bullish, while Spike is a little more cautious. Is that accurate?
Yes, I'm actually. You're making a believer out of me little by little, but of course, as soon as I jump on that bandwagon, that's when things are going to break on me, right?
Well, let me know when you jump on so I can jump off.
Exactly. Maybe I should just fake myself out and say I'm going to jump out.
You know what else I did today? Sometimes in between, I sneak in a race or two from wherever track is running. My favorite is Del Mar in California. Beautiful track, San Diego. And there was a horse called Happy Trails going in the fourth. And I didn't have the form, but I wasn't even going to bet. But I saw that horse, and earlier in the day, I said to myself, I'm going to use from the song Dale Evans and Roy Rogers used to sing,
right.
Happy Trails to You.
Happy trails to you.
We meet again. So at the end of the show, I was going to quote that, until we meet again, instead of just saying ciao, sayonara. And maybe even ask Spike if he knew where until we meet again, what song it came from.
Yeah, well,
Spike
my son is a counselor at Coleman Day Camp,
Uh-huh.
and they end every day with that song.
Wow.
So so you would have lost that one.
And I haven't heard that song in 30, 40 years. And I don't know what made me think of it, but who's going in the fourth race at Del Mar? Happy Trails.
Happy Trails.
Is that coincidence or what? And he was going off at 8-1.
How much did you win on him?
Well, who says I bet it?
Well,
I did bet it.
Yeah.
I had to bet it. I mean,
had
what
to,
kind
of
of
course.
coincidence is that? Do you believe that? First of all, I do not believe in coincidence. Do you believe in coincidence, Rosie?
No.
I don't believe in coincidence one bit. I was thinking happy trails, and there it was in front of me.
Right.
What are the odds of that occurring? That's not
Eas-
coincidence.
Easily 2-1.
2 to 1. Come on.
You know, I'm just teasing you, Dr. J.
Yeah, so I bet a big $2 to win on it at 8 to 1. But I also caught the exacta. I bet $4 on the exacta,
Ah,
and that paid $41. So I made a few dollars.
you see, bottom line, you did win after all.
I did win after all.
All
Happy
right.
trails. And if YouTube wouldn't yell at me, I would play it. You know, I would ask Alexa to play it for us. But if I do that, YouTube will get mad at me and send me nasty
Well,
messages
that wouldn't be fair use.
that I'm violating copyright laws, and
Okay.
I owe Dale Evans and
Roy Rogers.
penny or two for
Well,
the use of their song.
you'll make it up to him by going to his restaurant once or twice.
Yeah, well, I mean, have you even heard of Roy Rogers and Dale Evans, Rosie?
No.
He was a cowboy star. And
Okay.
Dale Evans was his wife.
Was his horse? I mean, his wife.
No, his wife. Trigger.
I know.
Trigger.
Trigger was his horse.
Trigger was his horse.
Again, I'm playing. I'm playing. Look at this. Greg is like he has.
Well, how much time did we waste talking about Roy Rogers and Dale Evans? I mean, if that isn't a waste of time, what about the Knicks and Mavs? That's a waste of time talking about them as well.
Yeah, Greg is keeping us honest.
The Mavs have Porzingis. You know that, don't you?
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Greg, you're not a basketball fan, right? You're only a baseball fan, pretty much, right? You don't follow the Knicks? You know, even if you followed the Knicks, you don't follow the Knicks anymore because they're already 1-7 on the season, 1-8, something like that.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, they just
actually, my son and I decided we were going to become Brooklyn fans.
Well, Brooklyn.
We were going to shamelessly jump on the bandwagon.
Well, let me explain something to you. I follow all home teams. Brooklyn's not much better than the Knicks. They're 2-7 on the year. They do have Kyrie Irving.
Right.
They have the best player in basketball sitting on the bench for the season, Kevin Durant.
Right, KD.
Yeah, KD. So next year they're going to be a force to be reckoned with, the Nets.
Right. So that's how it's going to look like I'm not jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah.
I'll be fans with them a year early.
I go to a basketball game, which isn't often, mind you. It seems like more and more young girls are there. It seems to be a sport that women are really beginning to appreciate, or maybe always did, and I just didn't realize it. Did you ever follow basketball or enjoy the game or watch one?
Yeah, when I was younger, I would watch with my dad all the time. He was a big fan, so he was really into the sport, so I would watch with him. Yeah, but
did you find any of your friends like the basketball women friends?
Oh, not really the girls. It was mostly the guys.
Mostly the guys.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what else I find? Hockey games. When I go to a hockey game, it seems like there's more women there than men.
Really?
Yeah, tremendous.
That's a little bit hard to believe.
Tremendous amount, and they a lot of teenage girls. For whatever reason, they play rock and roll music that can make you deaf. Maybe that's what the reason is. I need to bring cotton balls for my ears.
Right. How many times in one night can you hear Padman sucks?
What's that, Spike?
You know that whole thing where they do the whistling and they say Padman sucks.
I don't know. You're talking to an old man. You got to talk into the mic. So
I got to talk a little bit louder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. J ain't as young as he used to be.
No, I guess not.
I'm a day older than I was yesterday. Are we the same person we were yesterday, today? Or are we different?
We're different.
We're different one day from the next.
We're different one day from the next.
You're probably right. Would you say we're different 1 hour from the next?
I don't know. I think it depends on the hour.
Yeah, right. But from the hours of 2 o'clock in the morning to 3 o'clock in the morning, I think
It depends on whether it's Eastern daylight savings time or Eastern Standard Time.
That's funny.
All right. Well, I'm going to go further. Are we different 1 minute to the next?
Well, this minute I'm 1 minute more wise about Trigger and Dale, and the fact that Trigger and Dale Evans aren't really the same thing.
We talked horse racing. We established with Dr. J.
We established that Dr. J can't lose.
Handicapper of horses. We established that the Knicks play up against Porzingis without their center, Robinson, who's out with a concussion protocol. You know why he's out with a concussion protocol? I'll tell you why.
Because he banged his head.
This elbow. Where's Dr. J's elbow?
What?
Robinson took an elbow to the head. That was an alleged accident by Markieff Marcus, the twin brother of the Knicks player Marcus. They both Malcolm. What's his name? Marcus and Markieff. They almost sound like the same name. But Marcus's twin brother, is Markieff, who is known to hold a grudge, and he clobbered Robinson last year in a little dispute. And this was an alleged accident, but I don't believe it. I really don't believe that accident. But he knocked him out. He can't play against Porzingis. So without the big guy, it doesn't look too good. The Knicks had main defensive player, Robinson, a great blocker, is out. And the Giants, 2.5 points.
Oh boy!
By the Giants, a 2.5 point favorite.
You know, and you can't say that those 3 points are a home team advantage because
they both play
the home team. The only question is whether or not it's a Jets game officially. So the question is whether or not all that green is going to confuse the Giants. I don't think it will.
It's going
but I'm still betting the Jets.
Fairly or unfairly, it's going to be looked upon as a contest between the two quarterbacks, Donald and Daniel Jones.
Right.
Sam Donald and Daniel Jones. So whoever wins this one is for bragging rights. That's about all it is. They're both horrible teams, 2-7, and like similar to the Knicks and Nets. I think they have the same records.
Well, like I said, I'm gonna give the Nets a little bit of leeway very soon.
Yeah, well, the Nets have a semblance of a team, and the Knicks haven't proven to have even a semblance of a team yet. All right, so we're gonna get.
I want to talk to you about these new highs.
About what?
About these new highs that the S&P is supposed to be.
New highs. New highs make me very happy because when I look at my 401k, it goes up. New highs.
But wait! You didn't do that old glide path thing where you moved over to more bonds than stocks now that you're this close to retirement?
I have different accounts, and if I pool all my money, I'm certainly more into fixed income than I am equities.
Okay.
I have my biotech portfolio, which is my play money, quote unquote. It's real money, but let's call it discretionary. And then I have
I call it money.
More conservative equity portfolio, and I have a lot of funds and ETFs.
Right.
So outside of biotech and pot stocks, I'm pretty conservative. I have to admit I'm fairly conservative. And part of it is because of my age and just being retired and so on. Can't afford to take too many chances.
Well, you got plenty. Even if you end up taking too big a hit, you still got plenty of other money, I'm sure. So it's usually it's for corporates like me. You have to say, all right, how much is money I'm going to need so that I can eat 5 years from now. Right? I don't
Oh,
think you
you're
have
getting me depressed.
that. How so?
This is supposed to be a happy show, and you're asking me how much money I need to eat?
No, I'm saying that's my thinking.
I
What I'm
can't. First
saying.
of all, I can't hear you. You see this ear?
Oh, all
You see
right.
this ear right here?
Let's see what
This is
happened
on my
here.
right side. My whole right side of my body is not so good. My hearing in the right ear is not so good. So
All right.
you talk. It seems like you're talking right into my right ear because I don't. I have trouble hearing.
Okay. Is this any better?
Much better.
Okay. All right. So I
Now I
was
can
hoping that you
hear
would put
you.
up an S&P
I'm going
chart.
to put up an S&P. I'm going to go into the share screen mode. Anybody have
Okay, and
anything else to say about the market before I start looking at individual stocks and so on?
Well, I was going to sort of work off of what our big fan base was up to, but
By the way, we've been getting 480 views a week on average. And on days that Rosie's not with us, we drop down to 3
yeah.
something. So
Rosie's our good luck charm.
180 views right there.
Oh, thank you.
So 180 guys are tuning in just because of Rosie. I'm not tuning in because of Dr. J, I'll tell you that much.
Certainly not for me. I don't make people money.
Well, you know,
except when I tell you what I'm doing and you do the opposite.
We don't give investment advice.
Oh, that's right. We don't give investment advice. We just talk.
All we do is talk about our own opinions and ideas, and it's up to the viewer to do their own due diligence, consult with an investment advisor, and make their own decisions. Occasionally, we do have some great ideas, but it's up to the viewer to weed out the great ones from the clunkers, because we have a few of those too. All right, so we're going to get to the charts and look at individual markets like the Dow Jones, Amazon, CVM, ATHX. Anybody else have a request before we get into that?
Well, take a look.
Greg, you have any requests? All right, let's get into it. Share screen.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for what people are looking for.
All right. Okay, everyone sees the screen pretty good?
Yep.
We'll begin with the Dow, yes?
Okay.
Now, the Dow is really...
Lynn wants ADMP when we get a chance.
The S&P, sure.
No, ADMP, that's later on. That's after we look more generally.
The Dow had made a beautiful comeback today to finish in the green, even though it's really green. I love this kind of candle. You see, this is, if I have to have a doji, this is my favorite kind of doji. Why is it loading again? I was happy with the way
you have to reload.
I didn't tell it to reload.
Well, it's doing it anyway.
This is Verizon or whatever it is. This is a very nice candle here. Let's see if I can blow this up a little bit. Today's candle to end the week was a beautiful candle because we tested the trend line right here. It came all the way down to trend. You see that? And then it bounced right back to finish at where it started the day, to give us a barely red little body, barely red. Let's call it even from the beginning of the day, up from yesterday. And this is the kind of candle I like for a doji, one with a long stem on the bottom and a tiny little head. It's a very bullish candle. The one I don't like is this, let me see an example of one I don't like. This kind of candle here, the one from 621, I did not like, but it didn't have a bad effect. It's a little sell-off and then up we went.
Yeah.
But you find many examples where the Dow bottoms off of a gravestone doji. Here, or very close. Look at this one. Here we have a gravestone doji. We go up a little bit and then dive down. And there are many examples like that. I don't want to look through the whole chart, but take my word for it. You're going to take my word for it?
I'll take your word for it.
Well, here's a gravestone doji, essentially. It knows the very last sell-off we had was off of a gravestone doji. The one from 913.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's not a classic doji. There is a tiny little stem on the bottom, a gravestone, I mean, but it's close. Mm-hmm. And we're back in the trend line, in the Zoom channel that I call it. This is a nice channel that we're in, and we're holding trend. It can run like this until it decides not to. How's that?
That's as specific as I ever get.
Yeah, it'll run until it decides not to.
It'll run until it doesn't.
It is overbought, isn't it? No, 69, not yet overbought. 70 is overbought, so we were close to overbought territory. But it could stay in overbought territory for a long time. So let's hope it does. I think I've been saying all along, Dow 30,000 before we get a major correction. So according to that, Dr. J's Dow theory, we have another couple of thousand points left before we correct. And I'm not saying that will be the end of the bull market. I'm saying we'll get a correction. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
We often get corrections. What isn't it true that stocks go up and stocks go down and stocks go up and stocks go down? I can show you any chart. They go up, they go down, they go up, they go down.
Yeah, no, I'm not ruling out an overall bear market. Like I said, it's just a question of timing that big dip that might come, a little correction. But you're right. At this point, where there doesn't seem to be anything out there that's stopping this in terms of at least the overall upper trend.
We were market last November and December. We hit 20% in the averages. That was 20%. So we had a little bear market back a year ago, but this year we're not going to. Not November, not December, not January. These are traditionally strong months, and I say we're going to be strong November, December, January.
You know something? Like I said, you're starting to make me a believer. And the thing was, like, I was listening to some of the conversations on the radio today, and it seems like a lot of these investment managers are very cognizant of everything that caused that dip at the beginning of last year, and they're doing whatever they can to make sure that doesn't happen again, or at least that they're sort of hedged against it. So yeah, you're right.
Well, it's always a good idea to be hedged. I'm not saying you shouldn't be hedged, but I'm saying, in my opinion, which is when it comes to market calls, my opinion has been right a lot more than it's been wrong. We're heading to 30,000 plus. On the Dow Jones Industrial Averages, let's take a look at the S&P. So,
right, take a quick look there, and then, like I said, Lynn wants to see ADMP when we get a chance.
ADMA, no?
No, ADMP, she says.
ADMT, I don't know that one.
P.
All right, whatever the
we're talking about Adamas Pharmaceuticals.
Tells me is what we get. So
yeah,
let's take a look at the S&P. It's going to be a similar picture. Beautiful looking chart. We can look at it the daily. We can look at the weekly. We should probably be looking at the weekly because this is a weekly report. Is this not our end of week report? So we should look at the weekly chart.
Okay, Lou.
All right, but you can see what happened for the week. Count off 5 days: Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday,
Yep.
Monday. Last
Nice.
week we closed at 3,066. We're up 33 points, about 30 points from there on the Dow, right? Not a bad move. That's
No, you were. You said to hold off on the on popping the champagne till Monday, and that's when it broke those new records.
Yep.
And I mean, like I said, I don't look. I wasn't looking at the flat lines. I was giving myself a little bit of a slope, but even there, it looks like we're hitting a point of resistance, and I think we break through that. We're gonna be in uncharted waters, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. It's when you're in uncharted waters, you lay back and you enjoy the tide.
You might as well, right?
You might as well. You float along. You don't have to swim too hard.
That's right, and you could be any boat getting in that rising tide.
Yeah, I mean, just lay back and let the tide carry you along, because it's a rising tide.
Yes.
So this
what it
is
looks like.
It doesn't look quite as good as the Dow, though. The Dow has stayed in that channel.
Well, that was the thing I noticed this morning. It seemed to me that when you looked at the broader indexes, they were a little more lagging than the Dow was in terms of showing its showing its enthusiasm. And
What is
so I
it,
was just
about
wondering
1%
this morning.
move for the week?
Excuse me?
Interval, let's do 1 week. I think it's about a 1%. Okay, so we closed the week at 3,066, right? And then we closed this week at 97, so that's 31 points. It's not even 1%.
About 1%, right?
A little under. The Dow, I bet you, is 1% or more, but I don't want to go back and look.
Right.
So you want me to look? You want me to look at anything else, or?
Yeah, ADMP.
Notice how the weekly mirrors the daily. This really doesn't tell you much more. Doesn't tell me much more, anyway.
Right. No, well, you like reading the individual tea leaves.
Yeah, I mean, the 50 is above the 100, it's above the 200, it's trading well above the 50. It's following more or less a very sharp upward trajectory, looking good.
Yeah.
Now, the market doesn't seem to care about Washington and all the nonsense that's going on.
Apparently not. Well, I mean, the news people were thinking, oh, we're going to have a deal. We're not going to have a deal. We're going to have a deal. We're not going to have a deal. But you're right. Nonetheless, that's just noise.
I've been adding to my Amazon on this drop down, and I thought I was pretty smart.
You mean you were following your own advice and saying,
yeah,
the time to buy Amazon is now.
Buying it lower, buying it a little bit here, a little bit here.
Well, how'd you do this week?
It's up a little, but my wife asked me today, why wasn't I buying in more Apple instead of more Amazon? So she knows, I wasn't so smart buying more Amazon as opposed to more Apple. Personal preference. I'm just, I have this strong bias towards Amazon.
Well, if I had to choose between the two, I would also pick Amazon. So Lynn says that ADMP is overdue for FDA approval for the drug Zimhai. Is that did I pronounce that right? Which is used for opioid overdose. Wow. Yeah, that's talk about jumping on the current events. I mean, I'm looking at the chart now.
ADMP,
ADMP, that's correct.
First, we're going to look at our old friend CVM.
Okay.
Last week it was about the same price as it is now, right?
Yeah, $7.
I think it was a little over last week. And you would think nothing happened for the week, but it actually went down as low to a low of 651 and came back. Now, if I was really smart, I would have added to my swing trade at 651, but I'm not that smart. I'm pretty smart, but not that smart. So let's look at the weekly on this. If I count off 5 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We were higher last week.
Yes.
No. This is the week.
We've been in a trading range for the last couple of weeks.
This is the weekly. So last week we closed at 703, and this week we closed at what, 7?
7.
We lost 3 pennies for the week. But let's look at the daily, and you'll see what really happened this week. It was unpleasant for Dr. J, because I had to watch it to get pretty close to my sell at 457. I mean 657. No, 647. I have a 40-cent tolerance on my swing trade from 687. Somebody asked me, did I put in a stop on my swing? And I told them I use a mental stop because I don't trust these crooks on Wall Street. If I put in a hard stop at 647, when it hit 651, it would have triggered to 647. They would have taken me out of my misery.
Right.
So I learned already the hard way. Just follow it and get out of it, when at the time, manually, so to speak,
right.
mentally, whatever.
Oh, you keep an eye on it enough.
It made a double low over here at 651 exactly, right? 651 again here. So we have a nice support right in there. I like it. I do like it. Let me draw that. I like it more today than yesterday. Is that a song lyric?
Spiral staircase.
Spiral staircase. I love you more today than yesterday, but not as much as tomorrow.
Yeah, well,
anyway,
let's see if you're right.
World ever heard of the spiral staircase?
Oh, I guess they're a one-hit wonder, unless
somebody
knows of another hit that they had besides that one.
There was no other song that they made besides that one. I happen to have been at a bar in Washington, D.C. Right after that song was made popular. And who was performing at that bar?
The Spiral Staircase.
The Spiral Staircase. And my wife and I were dancing to
when they played a medley of their hit.
Yeah. Actually, it wasn't right after. I think it was several years after, and they were like pretty much hit rock bottom by the time we saw them.
Yeah, it's sad when you do that. Then the next thing is the VH1 special behind the music.
You see this triangle? This is what's with the Dr. J's.
What are you looking at now?
Famous consolidation pattern.
What are we looking at? I'm sorry.
CVM, which consolidated. Now you could say, what kind of consolidation are you talking about, Dr. J? It was almost $10. This is
exactly. We were talking about $9 before.
But you know what that implies, Spike? When it comes out of here, it's going to go above that old high, and it's going to go maybe to $14.
So you're saying that once it hits the end of that pennant, that's the end, because the bottom is rock solid, so it's going to have to make a move, and that move's going to be up.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. Well,
and on the other hand,
that's what that picture seems to say, isn't it?
On the other hand, if it doesn't, you have support at the 200, which
At
is
the
about
200.
616.
What's that?
609, 616.
Oh, okay.
And so, I mean, you know, if you want to hold, I think you'd probably be good at the in the low sixes to actually buy more, even if it breaks south. I don't like it. I'm thinking it's going to break north, and if it breaks south, I'm
If it
out.
breaks, north, it's headed for 10, in terms of at least the overall trend. Because if you look at all the tops, that's where they're going.
I say more than 10. I say yo 11.
Yo, you say yo 11. Well,
I say
right.
yo.
But you know me, I'll if I get in on this, I'd bail at 10. Be happy.
Yeah, I know. That's what you told me the last time with ARW.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep playing that song forever.
All right, I'll take a position in CVM next week. Lynn, you
Lynn
don't
wanted to see ADMP.
have to do that. It's at your own risk. Dr. J is a CVM Uber bull. Doesn't mean I'm right. I've been wrong before. I'm right very often, but I'm also sometimes wrong, and in a big way, like in Geron. That cost me a pretty penny. So I will be the first to point out some of my big blunders, some of my big mistakes, one of them being Geron. All right.
ADMP would be the one to do
Lynn
next.
knows everything.
Who?
Lynn knew about my Geron.
Oh, yeah, he did. She did.
All right. Okay, so let's take a look at what she's asking for, which is ADMP.
Yep. That one. I mean, I'm looking at the right now. I'm looking at the.
Meanwhile, Rosie's
1
taking
year.
all in, and she's going to go over to one of her trader friends and whisper
Yeah, exactly.
3 letters into his ear.
CVM.
And she's going to say, "Don't ask me where I got that from." You're not going to do that.
Okay. It's CVM?
No, it's RQB.
Yeah, right.
RQB.
we don't want to get you into trouble. We came here for your company, not to corrupt you.
Yeah, I'm not getting paid by Gert and Kirsten to promote this stuff. All right.
It's funny though, because
let's quickly take a look at ADMP. I want to do athx. I want to do Chronos.
Oh yeah, right. Absolutely.
So we got the agenda here. ADMP.
Now, what was Lynn saying about that? That there was a it's an approval for that drug for opioid overdoses.
Opioid drug. Okay.
Well, let's see. I mean, it certainly took a nice little U-turn over the last month.
Well, I know this particular stock. I've been in it before. Probably lost money on it.
Well, if you've been in it over the last year, that's.
I think this is one of my losing positions that I might have been in a couple of years ago.
Well, it certainly gave a strong buy signal about 2 weeks ago. No, even earlier, more recently.
Certainly moved up sharply, right?
Yeah, there was but in terms of crossing over the 50, it crossed over to 50 about a week ago.
Yeah. There's reason to get excited here. It's way above its trend line. I like it. It's got kind of going a little bit parabolic here.
Yeah.
Making new highs. Yeah, it certainly does look pretty interesting. I'm going to draw this and try to make it parallel to the other line. I'm going to try. That's not quite parallel, but what are you going to do? So we have an interesting looking channel. And I like this, believe it or not, I like this three candle pattern with a big green body, a little doji in between, and another bigger body with a new high. I like this pattern. To me, it's very bullish. You have, like you say, you have support now at the 50. And soon you're going to have support at the 100 as it looks like it wants to go up. I don't know what the heck this opioid thing is, but it's certainly given this stock a shot in the arm from $0.50 to $1. And it looks like there's more room to run.
Yeah. At least to another 50 cents easily.
Lynn, I don't know where you got this one from, but it looks like it might be a good one. What did you say, that there were trials that it was going to give a data report, or what?
What she said was that it's overdue for an approval of that drug's Zimhai. Yeah, I'm looking
Waiting
at
for approval. I mean, you got to figure this area up here is the next big target, $1.50 area.
That's a 50% increase from now.
Yeah. Interesting. Of course, if it doesn't get approval, look out below.
Yeah, well, I mean, these days, anything to deal with the cannabis, I mean, the opioid overdose. You know, I mean, it's not this kind of thing where, yeah, obviously, we're talking about an overdose situation. There was some other drug that they had out there, and they were actually running low on supplies for that stuff. Something to sort of wake people up. I don't remember what it is. Like when they were in either on PCP or on heroin, and they just wanted to wake them up. And so what happened was that after a while, the ambulances just didn't have enough of it. So, you know, I mean, this kind of story about, you know, something else, either, you know, even if it's more slow acting, something that'll be like, all right, you know, whatever people, if people do have this kind of addiction, and maybe it sort of gets them off their addiction, you know, it would be a wonderful thing, wouldn't it?
It's a really difficult thing, because when somebody's in extreme pain and opioids will help, it's hard to not prescribe it. You know, severe pain is tough to deal with. Maybe medical marijuana is an alternative. I don't know. But, you know, the problem with addiction, when I was in severe pain, I took I don't know what I took. I took Percocet for
Right.
a period of about two weeks for a kidney stone that you could go out of your mind from the pain. And I needed lithotripsy, and I had to wait my turn because it was early in the discovery of lithotripsy. So they didn't have it everywhere, and I had to wait like I'm in a queue, a lithotripsy queue. And I was in agony. I mean, without that doggone pill, I think I would have got out of my mind. So I took the Percocet, and I was able to function. I even went to work every day, drove to work with Percocet. I got used to it. You know, your body tolerated it, but it took the edge off where I was able to go about my business. And everyone said you can get addicted and so on and so forth. You know, when it came time to it, I didn't even wean off. I just threw the bottle away, and I was good.
You know, this is what the doctors tell you, but obviously it can go south on you very easily. So you're actually one of the good stories where you know that it actually works, and then it does its job, and then that's it.
I took a lot of it, and I had no trouble. They told me wean off. I weaned off by throwing it away.
Right.
That was my weaning off.
It's
I said, I'm not.
It's an inspiring story.
I need this stuff.
You want to move on to either Chronos or
yeah, let's wrap this up. We'll do Chronos
or the other, or ANTX.
Chronos. The pot stocks woke up today. We could do CGC or Chronos. Let's look at CGC, up about 14% on the day. Nice little pop. Maybe 12%, I don't remember. It had a nice pop, up 12.47% and up a little more after hours. Very nice pop today.
Oh yeah, look at that.
Now this is an engulfing candle. You see the body engulfs the previous day's body.
Right.
You see that?
Yes.
And even though ideally I would have liked a bigger red body, I'll take it. This is a turnaround candle if I've ever seen one. So we had a nice downtrend, and we looked like we put in almost a double low, not quite.
Yeah, it looks like a double bottom.
You can call it a double bottom. And we have a very bullish day, extremely bullish day. I like the pot stocks. I mean, it's quite likely we get a pullback to about this level, 2062. I'll draw it in, and that's the place to go in if you don't have a position. In my humble opinion, that is where I probably will look to add right about here. I was going to draw it in, but why bother when I can do Cronus or another one.
Around 2050? You're saying, or you think?
Yeah,
Do you think that that it's actually going to touch something that low? It's 21.5 now, right?
I think it will go much higher. I think.
No, I'm just saying in terms of when to step in. Do you think that it's going to hit 20 before it hits 30?
I think we get a little pullback to like the upper 20s. And then it'll gather some more momentum. I think it's going to test,
Well, yeah, because it might be testing that little local maximum right next to it. I can see what you're saying. Yeah.
All right, so Kronos has a similar looking day, but it's not an engulfing candle, but who cares? It's still a very nice green candle after a long downtrend. You got to like Kronos. You got to like all of these pot stocks now. We called the bottom back here on the 14th of October. I think it was a good call. I still think it was a good call.
Seems so.
All right, so any other requests? Because I'm going to wrap it up. ATHX, we got time for a quick one, ATHX?
Might as well.
All right.
Because we were sort of, there was something on that.
Yeah, let's do one.
We were sort of keeping our eye out for that one. So in order for us to really keep our eye out, we should keep looking at it every time.
Well, ATHX is the one we drew. We drew again one of those big triangles, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
I don't know what happened to it though. It got undrawn. In fact, there's garbage lines here. I don't know what the heck they are. So I'd have to draw it again. All right, it's not going to take long to draw.
Right.
Why did that happen? Strange things happen to Dr. J.
Well, you had those lines. Maybe if you move the chart, if you sort of mouse over and move the chart over to the right, you'll
I know those
sort of
aren't the right looking lines, though.
Yeah, that's true.
They look like I don't know what they are.
Vestiges.
Yeah, vestiges. All right. So let's say I don't know what it hit today. Let's say that's about. So it tested the bottom here.
Actually, yeah,
it's arbitrarily drew and bounced off of it to effectively a doji, and moved away from this this upper trend line, which is still sloping down. So it looks to me like it continues to drift a little lower before it takes out.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch that one. I personally wouldn't touch that one for a little while.
Didn't we say back here that we thought it was going to drift lower over time?
Something. I wouldn't doubt it at this point because we said, well, let's see what's going to happen, and we had Yeah, we did have a move up and then a pretty steep move back down. That had to happen before we
Well,
talked
last
last
week,
week, because last week I think we did see the downward arrow, and we thought we
yeah,
had no reason to think that was going to stop.
last week we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're looking at this close here at 129. The close was 2 pennies less than last week, but the action was negative.
Right,
on the
it
week.
was right.
Although the candle today was not really a negative candle, just a test of the bottom, which passed. And
Oh yeah, that's the thing. If
I'll tell you what's going to happen.
when something goes past the bottom, don't you think it's going to keep doing that?
It's going to keep doing that for as long as it can, until about the end of November.
Then
That's how
it might be worth looking at after then, because there's a real low from a couple months ago at 121.
Yeah.
So
well,
maybe
it hit today 122, so it's a double low.
no, it hit today 137. We look at the same stock, athx.
No, it actually hit 122.
Oh, it hit 120. It did go. All right.
Yeah, that's the bottom of that long stem.
Oh, okay.
Rosie, what do you think? Are you going to become a trader now that you're working on the trading floor? Or are you going to stay in IT?
I'm not too sure. I'm pretty fascinated by what the traders do. And they're, each and every single one of them is very passionate about it. But I don't know.
Dr. J.
What was that?
Are they as passionate as Dr. J?
Not as passionate. No, definitely not.
Dr. J has passion oozing out of my pores.
Yeah.
I have passion from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet.
He'll be the first one with those glasses, and those glasses will have charts from the Yahoo Finance on them.
Clark Kent type glasses. Are they not? This is like what Superman wears. These are Clark Kent glasses. Aren't they, Spike?
I'd say so, yes.
Yeah, the Clark Kent glasses. Lynn, you don't invest in pot. I don't either, but I like taking it. No, I don't. Actually, it didn't help me. I tried it.
What, those CDBs?
The CBDs. It didn't really help.
Yeah, there's a lot of hype there, but maybe it's this kind of situation where, you just have to be, just go to the root and go right to the plant. And that all these derivatives are just not the way to do it.
The tip-off for the Mavs-Knicks game is happening as we speak.
Oh, okay.
So that means Rosie's going to start us off by saying good night in Hindi.
Good night.
That's exactly what
Hindi. No Hindi?
No, I'm going to do it in English. Good night.
Good night,
Rosie. I'm glad you wanted to join us.
What I'm going to say is until we meet again.
Right.
Until we meet again.
To you.
And how about you, Spike? Well, how are you bidding everyone farewell?
Well, actually, it's funny because my son wanted me to give him a quote, and my quote because he's graduating this year, and I said my favorite quote is "Don't put off till tomorrow what you can do the day after tomorrow."
I like that.
So I'm going to leave you with that thought, and then say good night, Mrs. Calabash, wherever you are.
I always never do today what I can do tomorrow. That's me. All right. So good night to Lynn. Good night to Greg. Good night to Rosie. Good night to good night to Spike. Good night, Dr. J.
Good night, Dr. J.
Bye all.
Bye.